Welcome to Screwball Cinema. This is Nick. I'm here starting a new series called Low Budget Legends, reviewing 1993's Arcade by Full Moon Pictures. This film stars Megan Ward. She was very popular in the 90s in like Joe's Apartment and other films. She plays a teenager that has a gang of friends, including Peter Billingsley from Christmas Story. It's good to see him getting work after all these years. But yeah, I love the early 90s outfits in this film, the aesthetics. It really encapsulates that like pre 9/11 feel good attitude of the 90s, before 9/11 and the internet and all that. So in this film, Alex and her friends, they visit the local video arcade that's in their city. It's called Dante's Inferno. It's a very subtle name there. Um, but yeah, they there's a new virtual arcade game that's put in there simply called Arcade. And it's especially wild seeing Seth Green in one of his first ever roles. In real life, he's around my dad's age. So I used to, when I was little, I would see him in like Austin Powers, and I would always like picture him to be like my dad, age. But like, it's just weird, like looking back, it's like a time capsule and like seeing him look like he's like 16 in this movie. It's so weird. So this game Arcade is being test marketed by a computer company CEO named Difford, played by discount Billy Crystal. I mean, John Delancey, who is more than willing to hand out free samples of the home console version, which in reality would be a major red flag from the company. And this is for very good reason, as the game's programmer knew that there'd be a problem with this. And they even tried and failed to convince the computer company, Vertigotronics, to halt the game's release because of the company's unorthodox decision to use human brain cells in the game's development. However, it soon comes clear that the teenagers who play the game and lose are imprisoned inside the virtual reality world held by the central villain, Arcade. So Alex and her friend Nick, played by Peter Billingsley, enlist the help of the game's programmer, and they head into the world to fight this. And let's hope Ralphie doesn't poke his eye out on all these spikes on the walls. This film definitely is the most 1993 film just when looking at it. The graphics are definitely comparable to other CGI early at the time, such as Reboot. A lot of times it looks like they're in a Stone Temple Pilots album cover. It's crazy. So this film obviously has heavy use of CGI, which is actually fully redone after Walt Disney Company named Full Moon Pictures in a potential lawsuit. So the sky cycles in this film originally resembled the light cycles from Disney's Tron, so they had to change it up. Even some video magazines in the 90s and trailers would show the original Disney footage. And honestly, I'm thankful that they ended up redoing the CGI in this movie because it looks way better. Honestly, I actually looked at the old poster with the Disney CGI, and you can tell it looks a lot more cheesy. My personal favorite part of the film is when Alex has to cross this river, and she runs into two of her friends, including Seth Green. They're in-game characters in the virtual reality sphere, and Seth Green looks especially awesome as his in-game character. I mean, he looks like he just joined the hottest early 90s industrial band to never exist. They present her with a riddle challenge on which city behind them is the city of truth, and one of them is a liar. And Seth Green just does a fantastic job playing a dark character, especially at such a young age. So Alex later finds out that Arcade was once a little boy who was beaten to death by his parents, and that the computer company felt like it would be a good idea to use some of his brain cells in order to make the game's villain more realistic. And instead, it made the game basically psychopathic and deadly, which honestly is a pretty cool concept for the time. I mean, it's more realistic than the plot of Lawnmower Man, which involves basically putting on VR headset, making you a god, which is just fucking ridiculous. While Alex is able to release her friends from the virtual prison, she also ended up freeing the evil little boy. And Alex reaches the final boss, which is the arcade, basically just like the master control program from Tron, basically, and starts attacking her, but she's eventually able to overcome and beat it. But yeah, man, talk about some underrated visuals. I mean, the last 10 years, the 80s stuff was really popping, but like seeing this early 90s CGI, it's just really not talked about too much. It reminds me of those like weird Tootsie Pop commercials from the early 90s. In the original Walt Disney version, the film ends on a happy note with Alex and their friends just walking away from Dante's Inferno with the boy's soul basically being laid to rest. But in the final full moon version of the film, after Alex releases her friends, she ends up freeing the little boy who, at the very end, just like taunts her in the most hilarious way.
All right, Kate. I've made it. Damn it, where are you? Right here.
Which is perfect and fucking hilarious. It gives me digital Bart Simpson vibes.